So after 1 month of owning my Rivian R1S, a lot of my family and friends have asked me, or even some strangers at the charging stations, is how is it owning a Rivian? How is it owning an EV in general? And what is the charging experience for somebody that doesn't have an at-home charger like I do? The biggest thing that I want to take away is this versus my Mazda CX-5. Okay, this is my comparison. This is a general idea that I'm gonna be talking about. I'm switching over from a Mazda CX-5 that was gas to a Rivian R1S, which is an EV. So for starters, the most important thing is how easy and how much more or less is it charging in public networks. So first off, if you don't have an at-home charger, um, the benefits are just slightly less. That's the biggest thing I want to say, because charging at home does save you money, does save you time, and it's just more convenient. Uh, with that being said, honestly, charging in public network has not been that hard. Um, for the most part, I can find an EV charger within 5 mile radius from my house. Um, there's two within 2 miles, three within no three within 2 miles, and then four within 5 miles from uh, the Chicago area where I live. Again, and that is without having access to the Tesla network within the city of Chicago. And I'm strictly talking about DC charging when I say those numbers. If you're looking at level 2 charging, then there's like over 100 that you can use, to be honest. But for the most part, it hasn't been that much more difficult to charge versus pumping gas. The one thing I will say that have a plan B in case you go to the charger and it's got taken at the moment you got there. Check the apps and see whether they're available, whether they're down, and that way you can not waste your time when you're driving there. In terms of cost, actually, I've either broken even or I've saved money, but I have not lost money. In terms of actual real dollars that I spent about 220 so far in the month of July. I would say closer to 240. I just charged this morning, so I would say closer to 240 in the month of July. And I'll probably spend another 20 to $30 before the end of July. Um, the reason I'm saying July specifically, I did get my Rivian in June, but I did have a road trip then. So again, just talking about for like daily driving, I spend about let's say 250. Now, if I compare that to how much I would spend on my gas car, which was a Mazda CX-5, I probably would have spent $250 to $275. So again, breaking even or saving a little bit of money there. Is it enough to say, oh my God, I can't wait to switch over to an EV? Depends. You know, are you switching over to an EV that is of the same size as your current vehicle? Then you might save more. Obviously, the Rivian R1S is a 7-seater versus the Mazda CX-5, which was a 5-seater. So there is a size difference there. Now, in terms of the actual charging network, when I do go on a road trip, again, when I went out to Michigan, I fully charged the night before, made it to my destination with no problems. I charged during lunch, or I charged when I got to my destination. Then I charged once more during lunch. I didn't charge all the way, and I used the Rivian network to get back to Chicago and did small stops on the way back. So again, simple, easy, painless to use. The one recommendation I do have when it comes to charging, though, is that if you do charge at Electrify America, EVgo, or ChargePoint, which is my experience so far, so I can't speak of anything else, is before you actually physically connect the charger into your Rivian, is initiate it on your app, on your actual phone, initiate charging. Um, the reason I say this is when I don't initiate on my phone first, I have issues with the actual charging on the Rivian screen in the vehicle, it'll tell me, hey, disconnect and reconnect. So when I do initiate on the app first, it works. It has not failed me thus far. So I do recommend charging the car and initiating in the app first, or prior to charging, I should say. Moving on to what it's like to live in the city with a Rivian, having to park on the street and having to actually parking garages when I go downtown uh, hasn't been difficult at all. That's simple. That's it, to the point. It's been easy. Parallel parking, cameras are there, beautiful cameras. You can see everything, so it hasn't been a challenge whatsoever. Parking in the parking garages has actually been better for me, since the parking garages, not all of them, but some of them offer charge point or blink charging ports. You can actually just go in there, and instead of having to go up like 5, 6, 7 levels to find an available parking spot, you're on like level 2, level 3, because that's where the charging points are. So again, I recommend just going out there and parking in the parking garage should be easy. Again, you're not gonna get 100% in the few hours you park there, but to top yourself off, it cost me $3 to get, like, I think somewhere between 10 to 20%. Honestly, I didn't keep track. It was my first experience, and it was for 3 hours that I parked there, and I got charged $2.92. So just under the 3 hours, I think, because it's $1 per hour. So it wasn't that bad. So I recommend, if you find one, this was specifically a charge point. I can't speak on Blink either, but just again, giving you my real world experience so far in the city of Chicago. I just got my Tesla adapter not that long ago, but I haven't actually had the opportunity to go to a Tesla charger and use it. Because again, Rivians and non-Tesla vehicles are not allowed to use the Tesla chargers in the city of Chicago. So as I said, you're not allowed to use the actual uh, Tesla chargers within the city of Chicago. So I haven't had the opportunity to use it outside of Chicago. Um, So I'm looking forward to using that on my road trip. I'm hoping I can go to New York this year with my wife and 2 dogs. So I will videotape that and show you, again, the struggles, the pros, the cons, et cetera, et cetera. So look forward to that in the future, and hopefully it does happen. Driving a 7-seater in the city isn't the easiest, but again, nothing challenging. If you're a safe driver and you watch, especially the corners when you're, it is a little longer and a little wider, so just a little longer turns. But again, it shouldn't be too difficult for people that are already used to driving in the city. If you're visiting, just be extra careful with pedestrians. The only thing I would say with that. Um, but overall, if you need a charger in the city of Chicago, you'll find one, whether DC or level 2, level 2, level 3 chargers. You will find one in the city of Chicago. It's not that hard. Just plan ahead. It's the biggest takeaway there. The biggest surprise for me, in terms of having a EV vehicle, regardless of what it is just how easy I got used to it. In all honesty, looking at the technology, looking at what it is, and how much different it is than a gas vehicle, getting used to the one pedal driving honestly didn't take long. Maybe a couple of days of driving, got used to that. And that's at the max regen power there. In terms of the infotainment, again, because 95% of all the buttons and features that are within the vehicle are going to be in the touchscreen, apart from your turn signals, your windshield wipers, and your stock to go up, to go forward and reverse. Again, this is for the Rivian R1S. Some vehicles, everything is in the touchscreen, like a Tesla. Doesn't take long to get used to that. Few days of driving, and where the AC is, where your seat warmer or seat cooling is, the music, and all that. Again, it doesn't take long. It just play around with it, get used to it. It becomes more and more of a second nature. Even my wife, who again doesn't drive because she doesn't want to, she changes the music, the integrated Spotify or Audible on there. Fairly easy for us because that's what we use most of the time, or I should say all the time. The one thing that, I would say in terms of the infotainment, it doesn't have the Apple Play or the Android Connect, whatever it's called. But in all honesty, I don't really miss it. The only thing that I miss is having the ability to text. So obviously not text physically, but having the connection onto your car and being able to voice text. I miss that feature because it was easy for me, texting my family or friends or my wife, hey, I'm on my way, or ETA is this, etc. Now in order to do that, you actually gotta call them or you gotta pull over legally and not text and drive, right? But that's ultimately the one thing, the biggest negative for me is that feature in terms of the infotainment. Um, in terms of how reliable, buggy, and or issues with the infotainment. At the beginning, I had a few issues with Spotify not working correctly or glitching out a little bit. That was like the first week and a half that I had the car. I think the more and more you use it, or the more and more it's used, I haven't had any issues so far. So I would say the last 2.5 weeks have not had any issues with the infotainment whatsoever. No bugs, no lag, no latency issues. It works, honestly. Again, the first week was a little buggy, but after that, it's been pretty good for that. In terms of the the other features within the infotainment, the charging, the keeping track of how much you're regenning. If you want to get all nitty gritty, it's there. Is it necessary? No. Again, for public charging, I haven't even used any of the, you know, getting the actual battery up to the actual temperature that it's not required, but they recommend getting. It hasn't slowed me down. I would say on average, I am doing, I would say 20 to 30 minutes in charging. Again, around that 70 to 85% range, anywhere between 20 to, I would say 40 if I get it up to 85%. And this is coming in at 10% roughly. That's, again, depending how you use your time. You may or may not like that 20 to 40 minute stopping time. Now, the way I use it, okay, I go in again, put the app, initiate the charging, and then I start charging, right? Connect it. So if I have work to do, if it's a Monday through Friday and I have work to do, I'll bust on my laptop and I'll start responding to emails, doing quotes, etc., etc. Just taking care of work stuff. If it's a nice day and I don't have anything to do, I'll take a 20, 30, 40 minute walk. So again, I'm exercising a little more than I used to because I have the time right now. Now, is that going to change when winter comes? Maybe, right? If it's cold to sell out, I'm not going to want to walk outside, but at least right now, I'm not using the infotainment, the YouTube or the casting as much because, again, I am just walking or doing other things. The other thing that I am doing is I either bust on my Steam Deck and I start playing some video games since I've been extremely busy with work. I haven't really had time to play games, so just catching up on some games that way. And what else do I do? That's basically it. What I do in terms of charging and spending my time. Now, have not actually put my car to charge and gone grocery shopping, which some would say that's very convenient, right? You would. Now, what I have not done is actually charged and grocery shopped. The reason being is because I tend to charge either really early in the morning before the grocery store start, or really late at night after the stores have changed or closed. You know, and during that time frame in the day, I don't charge because again, the pricing is slightly higher than the off-peak hours, which is usually off-peak is somewhere between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. or 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. depending on the charging network. Now they have the super off-peak hours, which is like 12 a.m. to like 4 a.m., which I'm sleeping during that time, never going to be charging there. Hopefully never, but you never know. if I need to, but at least for the most part, I'm charging somewhere between, let's say, 10 p.m. and 11 p.m., or for the most part, somewhere between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. That's usually my window because I am a morning person. But again, it's not too difficult. Before you leave your house or your apartment or whatever you live in, you will, get your phone out. You look, okay, the 2 or 3 chargers that are near me, which one has availability. And usually what I would say is make sure there's at least 2, if not 3 chargers available. Reason being is because if you only go with, there's one, by the time you get there, it might get taken. So I would recommend at least having 2, if possible, 3 chargers available. So at least when you get there, if somebody else gets there, you have availability to charge. Again, recommendation from somebody that's had to go somewhere else for charging. Um, but in all honesty, highway assist has been great when it works. And my recommendation with the highway assist is stay in the middle lane. Stay in the middle lane. 9 times out of 10, it is where it works the best for me specifically. And I say this because there is construction around the highways, in all the highways right now, for the most part that I use in Chicago area. So it just seems to be working better when it's in the middle lane because it's the least affected. Because you know how they, on the sides, it's usually where the cones are, or where the construction is happening. So for the most part, I would say if you stay in the middle lane, you will have a better experience than if you were in one of the side lanes. Now, do you go the fastest? No. Are you saving on battery because you're going a little slower? Yes. So it's just a pro and cons on what you want to do, right? Honestly, I've been loving highway assist, especially in the afternoons when I gotta come home and it's just, very heavy traffic. It goes by itself, it slows down by itself, and all I gotta do is maintain my hands on there, pressure on the steering wheel, and it's just driving. Honestly, beautiful. Again, when it works. Avoid those things that I said, and you'll have a better time, in my experience. Now, if any of you that have a Rivian have some feedback on the highway assist and how much better it can be doing certain things, please let me know, and please let us know, because I definitely love the feature and I want to see if there's anything better or anything that I should do to have an even better experience. The overall space of the vehicle, again, I love it. It's been helping me out, especially the last row, because I don't need currently the 3rd row. So I put it down, and just having that extra space has been great. Grocery shopping, going to Costco, toilet papers, paper towels, all that, put it in there. I used to have to go through the side doors and actually put in the 2nd row my toilet paper and stuff, so then my groceries can go in the back. Now I don't have to worry about that. The one thing I haven't really used, to be honest, is the frunk, right? The trunk, or the space available in the front instead of an engine. I just haven't used it. I don't know if it's just because I'm not used to it, or because, again, if it is in the summer right now and groceries, right, you have dairy, you have eggs, etc. I just don't feel like putting it up there because it's just very hot. So I feel like put it in the back, even though the AC isn't, completely blasting it and keeping it cool where it needs to be. I just feel like it's safer for that in the back. Again, maybe when I go on my, not maybe, when I go on my road trip, hopefully to New York this year, I definitely will be using that, because I know we will have a lot of stuff going to New York. Probably going for like a week or so. And overall, like, moving on to the next thing about like overall reliability of the car, reliability of the charging network and all that, honestly, been great. Haven't had any issues whatsoever. Again, a few bugs when I first got the car, but after that, been great. Now, to give you my final thoughts and, just overall, again, starting from the beginning to the end, the ease of getting the Rivian wasn't hard, painless. Charging, again, either breaking even or saving some money, but I'm not losing money on charging. Haven't had any issues, haven't had to take it to service anything apart from the little ding that I got on the windshield, but again, they couldn't do anything because there was no actual impact that cracked it. Long story short, Safelite couldn't do anything unless they punctured an actual hole into it. And there was they're like, hey, if we do this, we need you to sign this because we can crack the whole windshield and then you'd be responsible for it. And I'm like, no, thank you. So, um, so that happened. But overall, again, would I buy a Rivian R1S again? Yes. If caveat, if I was in a different life or a different timeline where Elon didn't go all political and um the cars were being vandalized, then I'm almost 100% sure that I would probably be in a Tesla right now. The reason being is the self-driving features are better there. The supercharging network is larger and more available. Like I said, here in the city of Chicago, there are more superchargers for the Tesla specifically than non-superchargers for Tesla. So I would probably be in a Tesla. But I am where I am now. I'm in this timeline with a Rivian. And would I buy a Rivian in this timeline? Yes. For a fact, yes. I haven't really used it off-road yet, but I do like the thought that I have of, hey, if I want to use it, I have it, Now, you may or may not be happy with, oh, well, you haven't used it, so do you really need it? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, but it's like kind of like insurance, right? You don't really want to use it, right? But you want to have it in case you need to use it. And like I said, I do want to get more outdoors, explore more. Right now, I've been very busy with work, so haven't been able to do much with that yet. But hoping that as things get smoother at work and life gets a little smoother, hopefully, I can go out more, go outdoors more. I do want to go, to a cabin. I like going to a cabin at least once a year during the winter because we don't really get snow anymore here in the city of Chicago. So I do want to like going out there and I want to try it out. I want to see how the Rivian handles off-roading and off-roading with snow. I definitely want to see how that works. I want to see how the battery works in the cold and all that. Because again, I've only had it for a month and it's been in summer. So I really can't give you an experience on winter yet. But for the most part, again, sorry for being long, but yes, I would definitely buy the Rivian R1S again. If a year, 2, 3 years from now, I don't really use the off-roading, then I'll tell you, if you're not going to use off-roading, then don't get the Rivian. It's not worth it. There are more efficient cars for city highway driving, but at this moment, I am happy with my purchase. I am happy with the Rivian. I'm happy with the technology. Haven't really had bugs. And charging has not been a pain at all. It has been very easy. Now, again, depending on how much you drive, if you're, I would say, if you don't have an EV charger or you're not able to charge at home, and you only drive 30 miles in general a day, see if you can find somewhere where you can just plug in or wall charge, because that's all you really need. You don't really need an EV charger for more than that. Again, your mileage will vary on this, but yeah, that's my thoughts. If you have any questions, anything I didn't really go over or need more detail, please let me know, and I'll either make another video, or if it's something quick and easy, I'll just pin a comment at the bottom. But yeah, that's been my current experience with the EV charging. So look forward to seeing more and adventure on.